Hey everyone, this is Michelle from Florida Keys Birding and Wildlife, and this is the 2018 Fall-Winter Warbler Migration. Oh my gosh, say that 3 times fast. Anyways, so I'm going to talk a little bit about wood warblers and migration and why they do it and different types of warblers. So these are 10 warblers that you want to know a little bit more about. I will do another video later on each warbler and a little bit of extra specific information on each one since the fall migration for 2019 is upon us. Since we're in August, it's going to be here soon here in the Florida Keys, so a little more to come on that within the next month or two. So let's get right into it. Nearly all wood warblers in North America are migratory. It's critical in their annual cycle. Because of the energy demands of migration, birds need to load up with fuel for energy to meet the demands put on them during migration. So during migration, warblers take long flights at night, and during the day, they rest and refuel on the ground or in trees. Sometimes a bird finds a fallout area to rest for a short period of time when exhausted and hungry. This is why the Florida Keys is a birding paradise, because they're flying from the Caribbean or South America, and the first landmass they see is here, the Florida Keys. So let's talk about our first bird, the American Redstart. I like to call them the Halloween bird. My first time seeing an American Redstart was last year around Halloween, which is why I kind of called them that. And they're orange and black, So this bird, the female and the male look different. You'll see some pictures of the female in a few minutes. The female is orange and black, and the male is orange and black, and the female is like a yellow and gray color. They eat mostly insects, but they do eat berries and fruits in the summer. They do tend to forage on the ground and in treetops. They migrate through Florida, and they can winter in the most southern tip of Florida and the Florida Keys. Their habitat includes lower to mid forests. Last year, when I saw my first American Redstart, it was next to a pile of rotting dead fish, and I thought to myself, what are they doing? I didn't really understand what was going on, but the more I sat there and observed, I saw them swoop in around the fish and then swoop back, and I realized that they were eating the flies that were buzzing around the fish. So I thought that was just a really cool observation about the American Redstart. The next bird is the yellow-throated warbler. This bird eats mostly insects, and they winter in Florida, southern Florida, and they're year-round in central and north Florida. They also spend the rest of the year in the eastern U.S. Their habitat includes pine forests, open understory, bald cypress swamps, and woodlands near streams. In the winter, you can find them in parks and gardens. I found them quite frequently in coconut palms in my yard, and the oak tree that's out in my yard, and the mahogany tree as well. So the next warbler that we're going to talk about is the black and white warbler. These guys are so fast and just wild all over the place. They go up and down trees, they go around, they go side to side, they're just all over the place. Really hard to photograph and follow. But they eat mostly insects, and they do eat coconut palm flowers and agave in the winter. Their habitats include woodlands and forests and woodlots, and they migrate and winter in Florida. The next bird is the Cape May Warbler. Warbler. I know warbler is a funny word, isn't it? They eat fruit, nectar, and insects. They migrate through the eastern U.S., and they only winter in the Florida Keys, so in the southernmost part of Florida. Their habitat includes woods, scrub, mangroves, and thickets. I did find a couple of Cape May warblers last year They're really pretty, really bright yellow, really pretty birds to watch. So the next warbler is the black-throated blue warbler. This one is my favorite one. When I found it, I was so excited. I didn't know what kind of bird this was. It was black and white, and it almost had like a blue color. It was really, really pretty. They eat mostly insects and fruit, migrates to the southern tip of Florida and the Florida Keys, and they also migrate through the eastern US. They stay in eastern Canada throughout the summer. Their habitat are woodlands, and they winter in tropical forests, woodlands, and shaded coffee plantations. So the next bird is the northern Parula. This bird has a really pretty yellow color with a little bit of grayish blue. It's a really pretty bird. I like to watch this bird. It eats berries, nectar, and insects. For migration, they do winter in the southern tip of the Florida Keys, and in the summer, they stay in the eastern US and central to North Florida. Their habitat includes forests along streams and swamps, and in the winter, fields, pastures, scrub, woodland, and citrus plantations. The next bird is not a warbler, but it is a migratory bird, at least for the Florida Keys. It is the blue-gray gnatcatcher. They make a really silly sound when they're around. You'll recognize it if you've ever heard one. It's like a Z. I don't know, it's a really weird sound. They eat insects. They winter in the southern tip of Florida and the Florida Keys, and then they're year-round in the rest of Florida. The habitat includes forests and in the east, and in the west, shorter scrubs and woodlands. In the winter, cypress swamps, citrus orchards, mangroves, savanna with scattered groves. The next warbler on the list is the yellow-rumped warbler. I only saw this bird one time, so I don't have a lot of photos of it, but I'm hoping to see more this year's migration. So in the summer, they eat mainly insects, and in the winter, fruits and berries. Their habitat is forests, open woods, shrubbery, parks, coastal vegetation, and residential areas. They winter in most of the eastern US and the southern, mid, and western US. The next warbler is the orange-crowned warbler. It's so weird of a word to say, warbler. Okay, so this bird eats insects. They migrate down to the southern US and throughout Florida, and that's in the winter. So they migrate through the southern US and they spend their summers in Canada. Their habitat includes patchy forests and woodlands. And the last bird on our list is the palm warbler. They eat mostly insects, but add berries and seeds in the winter, and you'll see them foraging on the ground. Their habitat includes thickets, woodlands, savannas, mangroves, and open fields. An interesting behavior about a palm warbler that you can tell it apart from all the other warblers, because this is the only warbler that does this, is the tail bobbing. You can see it in the video here. They winter in Florida and only in coastal Carolinas, Alabama, Louisiana, and Texas. They can also be found in the southernmost parts of Georgia. So thanks everybody for joining me to learn more about the 2018 Florida Keys winter-fall warbler migration. Wow, that was long. I want you to like and subscribe if you like this video, and make sure that you turn on your notifications for more videos about warblers. Please comment below if you have warblers in your area and let me know what kind of warblers you have. I'd love to also know what kind of warblers you find for the 2019 fall winter warbler migration. Thanks everybody!